Hey bread lover, if you're like me and can't imagine a meal without it, but still want something that loves your body back, I've found a few simple swaps. Fewer calories, more protein, and they actually keep me full. First up, high protein bagels. I start with low-fat cottage cheese. Then I add 1 egg, a pinch of salt, and a bit of baking powder. For the flour, I use oat flour, either store-bought or just blended oats. Both work great. A bit of psyllium husk goes in next. It adds fiber and helps the dough hold its shape. Then I mix everything together until well combined. The dough needs to rest for about 10 minutes so it can set properly. I grease a baking tray and dust my hands with a little oat flour. Then I shape the bagels. Nothing fancy, just press a hole in the center with a finger. Quick reminder, I listed all the ingredients and full macros in the description, so everything's there if you need it. This amount usually makes 3 golden, soft bagels. Sometimes I sprinkle the tops with sesame seeds. Pumpkin work too if I want a little crunch, or skip them to save a few calories. They bake for about 25 minutes and come out warm, soft, with a texture very close to real bread. Each one has around 165 calories. That's about 40% less than a store-bought slice, and more protein too. I usually serve them for breakfast with a bit of cottage cheese, fresh veggies, or a slice of smoked salmon. It's simple, filling, and such an aesthetic way to start the day. Next up, savory breakfast muffins. These are soft, simple, and honestly feel a lot like English muffins, just made a bit healthier. It starts with low-fat cottage cheese and 1 egg. Those go straight into a bowl and get mixed until smooth. Add a pinch of salt, then comes a bit of baking powder. Like the last recipe, this one's also gluten-free. We're using oats instead of wheat flour. You can use ready-made oat flour or just grind regular oats in a blender. Once the flour goes in, I stir everything together and let it sit for about 5 minutes. Next, I lightly grease a few silicone muffin molds and divide the batter. I get 3 small ones from this batch. They bake for about 25 minutes and come out golden, soft, and easy to release from the molds. I like to keep the portions small. That way they rise well, hold their shape, and stay within a good calorie range. They're soft and bready, great for breakfast, but honestly work for any meal. I like them with eggs or a bit of cottage cheese and a touch of feta for that salty contrast. Now let's make a protein-packed bread that works both on its own and as a base for sweet or savory toppings. Once again, I'm using oats. As you've probably noticed, I like grinding them into flour at home. Then I add low-fat cottage cheese, a few eggs, some baking powder, and a pinch of salt. Everything goes into the same blender, so it all comes together quickly. For the baking dish, I use a round one that's not too tall. I grease it lightly with coconut oil, then sprinkle the bottom with a little cornmeal to help the loaf release more easily after baking. The batter should fill about 3/4 of the pan, since it will rise a bit in the oven. I bake it at a medium heat for about 45 minutes. To check if it's done, just insert a toothpick. If it comes out clean, your high-protein loaf is ready. It turns golden, holds its shape well, and keeps you full for hours. You can store it in the fridge for up to 5 days. This time, I decided to serve it in a sweet version. I topped a slice with chia pudding, a bit of passion fruit, and a drizzle of honey. It made such a good meal, kind of a dessert, but actually balanced, high in protein, and super satisfying. Hope you're ready for another bread alternative. This time, it's a soft baked wrap. Everything goes into a blender. Low-fat cottage cheese, 1 egg, a pinch of salt, Italian herbs, and some sesame seeds. Blend until smooth. Then I add a little psyllium husk, just to help with structure. If you don't have it or don't like it, cornstarch works too. Let the mixture sit for 5 minutes so it can thicken. After that, I pour it onto parchment paper or into a silicone mold. Lightly grease the surface and smooth it out evenly. Bake at medium heat for 15 to 20 minutes. it comes out golden and flexible with a nice structure. I like to spread a little yogurt or cream cheese inside, add cherry tomatoes, half an avocado, a few blueberries, and finish with a squeeze of lemon. The result is super balanced, satisfying, and honestly, just a great all-around meal. If you like simple, no-fuss recipes like this, balanced, easy, and low in calories, check the link in the description for my collection of everyday meals under 15 minutes. Calories and macros included. Next up, a no-flour, low-carb wrap. You've probably noticed every version I make starts with cottage cheese. That's because I swap carbs for protein to keep things light and filling. I actually make my own every week. It's super easy, and I've got 2 methods that work every time. If you want a full video on that, let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to film it. Once the cottage cheese is blended until smooth, add the eggs and blend again until fully combined. Season with salt and add some psyllium husk. Let it rest for 10 to 15 minutes so it can thicken. Then heat a pan, lightly grease it with olive oil, and pour in about half of the mixture. Keep the heat low and optionally cover the pan. In just a couple of minutes, it's done. No need to flip. So now just fill it with whatever you like. Cucumbers, fresh or rehydrated, sun-dried tomatoes, maybe a few lettuce leaves for crunch and volume. Sprinkle on a little Parmesan. Cheese is always welcome. Add a spoonful of yogurt, roll it up tightly, and you've got yourself a proper protein burrito. So we just made 5 different high-protein bread alternatives. What's the first one you'll try? Let's see which recipe climbs to the top. All the ingredients are listed in the description below. Thanks for cooking with me.